Hello everyone, and thank you for coming back to yet another episode of The Gloving Paradigm. I am your host, Peter, aka LPD Dubuque, and this week is going to be a very fun week for me because this topic is something I think I should have covered a long time ago and kind of feel ashamed that I didn't. So hopefully you guys don't mind. But I'll certainly say this subject matter should have been covered a long time ago, just because of the simple fact that this is something that I hear a lot in various other hobbies that I partake in, especially like with Magic the Gathering and things like that. There's always this thing that everybody always knows about, and it's basically what the subject matter is going to be about. And the subject matter is pretty much gloving on a budget. Now, I can certainly tell everyone that not everybody has affluence of money lying around that they can, just toss away to get stuff. But you know what? That's one of the things that I actually like about gloving, is that we actually don't have that whole bar to entry type deal where you have to have this big overhead of payments in order to actually get into the craft. Okay, as much as some people might disagree with me on that, I will certainly say that there is nothing in the gloving community that's been this huge barrier to entry type deal when it comes to gloving itself. And what I want to go ahead and cover through this episode is pretty much going through most of the websites that we actually shop through, all the gloving companies. The main reason why I want to cover as much as I could in terms of gloving companies is because I want to show my impartial viewing on companies as well, and not show any quote-unquote favoritisms to any companies or any biases towards any companies, because that is not what my channel is about. My channel is just giving all the listeners the best information possible when it comes to things like this. So please keep that in mind when I actually go through my list. But yeah, so living on a budget, it is what it is. Some people just don't have the money to just drop on the next biggest set that's coming out. Like as much as everybody kind of wants to do that, not everybody is able to do that, and that shouldn't be something that should be deterring you from actually just getting into the art form itself. So to start things off, I'm going to start with the most well-known company throughout the industry, and that's of course Amazing Lights. And then I'm going to move on to Futuristic Lights and Throw Lights, and then LEDgloves.com. Those are the four main ones that I actually found a good amount of stuff that I can actually use to give you guys a good idea. Throw Lights will have a little asterisk next to it, and I'll actually get into that a little bit when we get to that point. I just wanted to point that out. But to get things going, first thing that I will say, when it comes to Amazing Lights, they have a very huge plethora of different options you can choose from. It really depends on your budget. When I asked the question, I kind of just gave myself the whole tier of $50, $100, and $150, because I felt like that would be a good basis that you start from in terms of budget tiers, if that makes any sense to anyone. So the first cheapest glove set I was able to find on AmazingLights.com is their Electro V2s. Now, I haven't really looked into it, and I'm not actually going to spend a whole lot of time talking about all the features that every glove set has, because that would just take me way too long to actually delve into it. So my recommendation is actually to read the description that these websites have on their products, and definitely look further into it. You can always ask for a good amount of feedback from the community if you need it. If that's the kind of second opinion you need, is getting it from the community, definitely do that. I know a lot of people will voice their opinions on a different product. However, don't necessarily sit there and say, well, if their word is to do this product, I might as well do it. Take what they say about a product with a grain of salt and kind of determine for you what product would be best for you. Okay, that's one of the things that I didn't want to cover in terms of talking about every feature on every single light, because one, it'll just take me forever to get through all this, because I have a pretty long list of lights that you get through. But I also just wanted to focus on the price points, because that's pretty much what this episode is focusing on. So the retail price for the Electro V2s is $24.95. There are ways to actually bring that down even cheaper. I'll get into that a little bit later in this episode. But that is their retail price. I know some people might say, well, I actually see it going for this price. If you see the $24.95 crossed out in a new price, it's usually an indicator of a sale. But I just wanted to show you what the actual retail price, without any discounts or anything of that nature, so you guys can actually understand where these price points are coming from. So I just wanted to stress that fact that I got this at their regular retail price. I did not look at their sales price, because those changes all the time. So please bear that in mind. Okay, so you have the Electro V2s. They're actually relatively simple to use. But remember, because they only have like 24 colors, things like that, it's usually kind of the baseline for the most cheapest sets. I know the current one's probably still only use 19, but you know, we kind of expanded our palette in terms of color over the years, so just kind of bear that in mind. When it comes to color selection, yes, you're going to see a lot of different ones, and I'll actually explain a little bit later though. But then you got to the next tier level, which would be your Easy Lights 2.0s. Those are going for $49.95. Those are actually very, very simple to use. I think they also have one mode, so those actually make it very, very simple for a lot of beginners to actually get into, and it's actually a relatively good price at $49.95. That's great, and of course if you wait for any sales and you have discount codes and whatnot, you can actually bring that down even cheaper. Okay, then you go up to the next tier, which is the Flow V2s, which are going for the current price of $59.95. Of course, that is a regular retail price. And then you have, this is something I definitely want to stress to the fact that when you're going up these tier levels in terms of budget, there are other alternatives that if you want to spend a little extra money to get to the next upgrade, you know, if you're able to afford it, do it because you can, right? So you have the chroma controls, which is pretty much where I feel like Amazing Lights and Futuristic Lights are in competition with each other when it comes to their ions, because they're pretty much at the same price point at $69.95. Of course, if you're able to spend a little bit more money, like $10 more, you can actually get the Chroma Controlled Evos at $79.95. Now, again, if you're able to afford it. And the main reason why I wanted to kind of stress that is that, yeah, you have the Chroma Controls, but if you're able to spend $10 more, you're actually getting a lot more features with that set. Okay, so definitely make sure you're actually doing your research when it comes to researching these lights, and try to determine what light is going to be suited for you best. Okay, now I'll certainly say that there's nothing stopping you from actually just buying the cheapest set so you can get your hands wet, pun intended, into the art form, and then kind of gradually go up from there. You know, I've done that. My younger brother's done that. I know plenty of people who's pretty much upgraded as time went on, so definitely keep that in mind. Now, the next one I will certainly say is the Element V2s, which are going currently at the retail price of $99.95. Again, you can still get that cheaper if you use discount codes and wait for sales, but you do have that. And of course, you know, you have the Spectras, which is like $124.95, and then the Spectra Evos, which were like $134.95. If you're thinking about getting the Spectras and you want to spend a little extra more money, definitely go ahead and get the Evos because they are smaller chips. They're actually nano size. You know, there's a lot of different features when it comes to the Evos. So if you're looking at either Chroma Controls or Chroma Spectras, consider looking at the Evos just because those are the newest thing, and you're only paying roughly anywhere from $10 to $15 more. If you're able to afford that, go ahead. If not, it's totally understandable. It's not going to be the end of the world if you can't get the newest thing that's on the market. Okay, so that's pretty much what Amazing Lights has. They have a huge plethora of different options you can choose from with different tier statuses in terms of budgets. Next thing though is Futuristic Lights, which they don't have a massive selection like if you look at like Amazing Lights, for example. However, they are doing certain things that I'm actually very happy to see from a company, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But let me go ahead and give you guys this whole little list thing I have going on here. Okay, so for Futuristic Lights, you have the Ions, which is pretty much the cheapest set that they have going on right now, which is at the retail price at $59.95. Again, you can definitely get that cheaper when they're having sales and whatnot, but this is what a lot of people like to point to when it comes from Futuristic Lights as a great beginner set. It has chip-to-chip connectivity, just like the Chroma Control Evos and the Spectra Evos. They all have chip-to-chip communication now. It's one of those things I'm so happy to see more companies actually doing and actually bring that, because it just makes programming a lot easier. I can certainly tell you from my own experience with like the Oracles and the Matrixes and the original Chromas and the Chroma 24s, you know, you have to program everything in, and it can take some time. So definitely like the whole idea of the chip-to-chip communication. It's actually a fantastic addition to the whole arsenal of the glove lights, in my opinion. But I will certainly say when it comes to Futuristic Light, they tried to put across the board of all their products the chip-to-chip communication, which is fantastic. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more ease of access besides the evolutions, I would definitely say go with Futuristic Lights, because that's one of the biggest proprietors of the chip-to-chip communication technology. So again, you have the Ions at $59.95. Then you can move upwards to the Aethers, which are going for $99.95. And then of course you got what I still want to get my hands on because I still think this light's amazing, are the Kinetics, which are going for $124.95. And of course they got their biggest, baddest set ever, which is the Atoms, which if you don't know what the Atoms are, that's pretty much like they're super ions where they're actually able to have chip-to-chip communication. They have their same palette. You're able to actually have motion reactive because of the accelerometer, things of that nature. And that is currently going for the retail price of $159.95. Okay, so that's what Futuristic Lights has going for them right now. The one thing I actually like about Futuristic Lights right now is that they're also selling individual light chips. So in the eventuality, I guess, that one of your lights would be damaged or broken or defective, you can actually go and purchase another one. Usually they're going anywhere from like $10 to $12. So if you're actually getting a little heartbeat on paying an extra $10 to $12 just to replace a light bulb or replace a chip, trust me, that's actually a really good deal. Considering the amount of stuff that they actually put into these chips, that's actually a really good deal in my opinion. Of course, with sales and discounts, you can make it cheaper. So that's pretty much what Futuristic is bringing to the table. I actually like what they're bringing to the table, and I hope they continue what they're doing because they're going in a slightly different direction than a lot of the other companies, but that's still a good thing. Okay, now you have throwlights.com. So what I actually went and delved into throwlights.com, I only found one set, and that's their J Novas. And if you don't know what these are actually bulb chips, so you actually have to have bulbs to put in them. And their current price is actually going for $36.66. Don't ask me why that's the price. I'm just quoting what I saw online. But if you're like me, who kind of still likes the whole old school nostalgia with bulb chips, this is a great alternative because they do sell bulb chips. Other websites do sell bulb chips as well. Just wanted to kind of point that out. But Throwlights is kind of one of those main proprietors right now that are still keeping that bulb chip niche community alive, in my opinion. So if you're considering ever going into bulb chips, Throwlights.com has something for basically $37 for a whole set, and all you have to do is just buy the bulbs, and you can get bundles of bulbs for dirt cheap. Like, I remember correctly, I don't remember if it was the Amazing Lights, but I remember it was one of the light companies. They were selling like bulb packages for like $6, and you were getting like 100 different random bulbs. Now I can understand the little frustration that you have to categorize every single bulb. However, I do think getting 100 bulbs for like $6, that's actually really good, and I would find that to be a lot more fun. Now I can understand if you actually want to get 10 light bulbs of the same light, which is completely understandable, but just being able to buy packages of bundles like that and being able to kind of just cobulate a glow set of that, I find that a lot more fun, in my opinion. But again, that's just me being weird. Okay, so there you go. You got Throwlights.com. I kind of wish that they're going to be, I'm hoping that they're going to try to put out more bulb chip products because I really feel like that community needs a little bit more love. And of course, who knows? We'll actually see something come. Right? I have hope for it. That's all I'm going to put out there, right? Okay, now we're going to get into LEDglove.com's lineup, which I will certainly say that I was going to write the full title of all these chips, but then I realized that most of the titles that they have on their chips all say Nano on them, so I'm just going to say this is probably one of the biggest proprietors of the Nano chip, which is in itself a classification of a chip, which if you don't know what a Nano chip is, it's probably one of the smallest chips on the market when it comes to microlights, so just keep that in mind. When you hear nanos, it's a classification, it's not an actual light, just a specific light. It's just a classification of a light. Just wanting to point that out there. Okay, so you have the Neo Nanos, which are currently at the retail price of $29.95. Actually a really good deal. Then of course you have the Simplexes, which are going for this retail price of $39.95. You also have the Galaxy Nanos, which are going for $49.95. You have the Fluxes, which are $59.95. You have the Auroras, which is $79.95, and the Uber Nanos, which are going for $99.95. Okay, a lot of these are all programmable. They have their own sets of flashing patterns and different features as opposed to the other companies. So again, definitely do your research on each individual chip that interests you. You can always ask around the community to get their opinions on it because, just like how Reddit has Ask Reddit, where you can ask anyone. Pretty much if you do that with any of the groups, you're going to have a plethora of people actually putting in their input that help you make a good decision or a wise decision on your part, whether it be from any of the other companies. Okay, so that's pretty much the list I have for you guys. in terms of those companies. Again, I wish I was able to delve into every single light ship and explain all their features and stuff, but I swear to God, I would be doing that, and it would be like an hour-long episode, and I'm certain that you guys are kind of tired of me having those really long episodes, and I try to be as concise as I possibly can, so please bear with me when I tend to ramble on like that. Alright, so the next part I definitely want to talk about is the best deals. Alright, now, what are ways to help you kind of keep yourself up to date when there's actually deals going on? Well, the first thing you do is that you just sign up to all the newsletters to all the various websites, the Amazing Lights, Futuristic Lights, Throw Lights, LEDgloves.com. All those places are specifically catering to the gloving community. They're always having sales of some sort, so if you get on their newsletters, you'll actually keep yourself up to date with any of the sales that you need. You know, with any of the sales that they're having that you actually need to be purchasing. Okay, now I definitely just want to kind of disclose this real quick. I'm very, very appreciative that I did not get spammed like crazy on discount codes when I asked the questions about gloving on a budget, because yes, I understand that discount codes happen, but I do not need to have 200 different codes being spammed into my comment section on this question. And I do highly appreciate you guys not doing that, because that would really detract from the purpose of what I'm trying to do here on this episode. Okay, so here's one thing I will tell everybody. If you're looking for a discount code, you don't really have to ask. Okay, if you're on the Glovers Lounge or any of the other ones like Art of Gloving, Worldwide Gloving Group, or Glovers United, literally all you gotta do is go onto that group, go into the search bar and type in the words discount code, and you will see an entire list of just people's postings about discount codes, and then you can look through it yourself. Now, discount codes are very important in my opinion, because you're actually supporting local glovers in the community. So if you want to find the specific code for the type of glover you want to help support, definitely see if they actually have one. You know, a lot of the well-known glovers all have one, so definitely if you're one of those type of people that want to support your, a very aspiring glover for you, then definitely look up their code. But if you're just looking for any code, literally just type in the search bar of any of those groups, discount code, and you will see a plethora just pop up. Alright, I do not want to sit here and just say, use this code, or this code, or this code. Typically though, when we're looking at discount codes, we're looking at anywhere from 5 to 10% off. And as much as some people might say that that's not really enough, every penny saved counts when it comes to budget. So when it comes to discount codes, they're very important. They do not stack up, so don't even try to do that. I think the only way you can actually stack up discounts is if they're different tiers. So like, let's say if my channel had a discount code for 5% off, you can use that to get 5% off. And then you can use another discount code to get an additional 10% off, which will make 15%. And that's pretty much the max that they're probably going to allow to have. But again, I'm not a business person, I don't own a business, nor do I see myself as one, but just wanted to put that out there that tends to be the thing. When it comes to sales and discount codes, definitely check the fine print on those sales, because some of those sales will even tell you that additional discount codes will not be allowed to be applied. Okay, so definitely keep your eye on that, because some people might try to do that and then they get a little miffed when they're unable to use additional discount codes. Most of the times when it comes to the sales, they knock down prices pretty steep. So just keep that in mind. Okay. And I will certainly say the best time that you're actually going to get the best deals is when they're actually having flash sales or blowout sales. Okay. And flash sales and blowout sales are the things that, like their namesake term is, flash sales is something that happens very, very quickly. And kind of think of it like Black Friday that isn't Black Friday. Okay. It's just one of those situations that you kind of have to look at. And blowout sales, of course, it's usually when maybe they have a little bit too much of a certain product and they're trying to dump off. They'll drop down the price really cheaply so they can actually unload a lot of that product. So again, I will certainly tell you, if you sign up for all the newsletters from all the various companies, you're going to have any given points that you find yourself with great sales. And this doesn't only apply to just glove sets, like I'm talking about batteries and replacement gloves, every other accessory that you need as a glover. to actually do your performances. You will also see those go on sale. You know, if you're looking for diffusers are actually relatively cheap, but sometimes they actually go on sale. If you're looking for a very specific one, you definitely just need to keep your eye on until you actually see it on sale. But usually they're relatively affordable. A full set of cubes, I think it was like $20. I haven't really checked recently, so if I'm incorrect on it, please correct me, because I want to be correct. I want to be accurate with my information. So if I'm giving some inaccurate information, please let me know so I can correct it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this episode, though. That's kind of things I wanted to stress the fact that, because I know how it is being somebody who's on a budget and is not very affluent in terms of income and can't just sit there and buy everything. So I wanted to cover this subject matter because I know that I'm not the only one who actually has a limited fund type thing. So I hope that this episode was very informative for you guys. It was very interesting for me to learn a lot of the research to actually find a lot of these price points. Now, I will certainly say that most of these companies are always having sales, so if you just kind of keep your eyes tabulated on the sales that they're having on it, and give it time, you might find something to actually get a really, really good deal. So I'm not saying that you have to wait until like Black Friday or anywhere around the holidays to actually get the best deals, because sometimes I actually find the best deal out of that type of season. Like I actually find it a little bit before the festival season starts, which is great because a lot of us are going to be going to festivals, so we kind of want to stock up on all of our products. So definitely recommend doing all that. It's no cost to you to sign up for these newsletters and all these flash sale stuff, because it's just keeping you informed. Alright, so I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about this episode. I have various outlets you can hit me up at. Of course, I have a Facebook page, which is at my name, The Glowing Paradigm. I also am on Reddit under the username Mutton Chop Guy, and you guys know what my email is muttonchopguy@gmail.com. And of course, I do have a Discord server. You guys can also hit me up there. I know I've been shamefully neglecting it. I will simply tell you that I'm trying my best efforts to actually do that. I'm just hoping that things with like work, being at home, tend to dial down and calm down a bit. Things are a little crazy for me. However, I'm not letting that deter me from finding you guys something that I love. So please do not hesitate to let me know, give me the feedback that I so desperately need, because I want to improve as much as I can on this, so you guys can get the best content you guys can have. I do highly appreciate everybody who's been liking the page so far. It really means a lot to me, and it's extremely humbling to me that you guys are actually showing the appreciation and support that I would like to have to keep going. So definitely thank you to everyone who has been listening and showing their support. You guys are absolutely amazing. I wouldn't ask for a better audience, so thank you so much. But that is pretty much it. I am your host, Peter, aka LPD8 Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.